Olara Otunnu, born on 6 September 1950 in Mukwini, northern Uganda, is a distinguished Ugandan politician, diplomat, lawyer, and international statesman. Over the course of his career, he has served Uganda and the international community in some of the most influential diplomatic, political, and humanitarian positions. His career has included serving as Uganda's permanent representative to the United Nations, Minister of Foreign Affairs, President of the International Peace Academy, and United Nations Under-Secretary General and Special Representative for Children and Armed Conflict. Beyond government and diplomacy, Otunnu has been recognized internationally for his contributions to peace, human rights, humanitarian affairs, and the protection of children affected by armed conflict. Early life and education. Olara Otunnu was born in Mukwini among the Acholi people of northern Uganda. He was raised in a family with strong religious and community values. His father was a prominent leader in the East African Revival movement, an influential Christian movement that played an important role in the social and spiritual life of the region. Otunnu began his education at Mavara, Mukwini, and Anaka primary schools before proceeding to Gulu High School and later King's College Budo for his secondary education. He subsequently joined Makerere University, one of Uganda's most prominent institutions of higher learning. While at Makerere, Otunnu became president of the Students' Mouth Guild and emerged as an active student leader at a politically turbulent time in Uganda's history. Resistance against the Idi Amin regime. During his university years, Otunnu became deeply involved in opposition to the government of Idi Amin. He was among the young Ugandans who organized resistance against the regime and co-founded the Uganda Freedom Union. He served as Secretary General of the organization, which sought to bring together patriotic Ugandans committed to resisting Amin's government. As political repression intensified and threats against him increased, Otunnu was forced into exile in 1973. He escaped Uganda and went to Nairobi, Kenya, where he continued his education and political engagement. His commitment to public service and leadership eventually took him beyond East Africa. He received an overseas scholarship to study at Oxford University and, in 1976, attended Harvard Law School as a Fulbright scholar. Diplomatic career at the United Nations. Otunnu returned to public service at the highest diplomatic level when he was appointed Uganda's permanent representative to the United Nations in 1980 by President Milton Obote. He served as Uganda's representative at the United Nations from 1980 to 1985, during which time he held several important international responsibilities. In 1981, Otunnu served as president of the United Nations Security Council. During his tenure, he presided over the process that resulted in the election of Javier Perez de Cuellar as United Nations Secretary General. He also introduced a method of informal straw balloting used during the selection process for the Secretary General. This approach became known as the Otunnu Formula and became associated with the informal process used in subsequent UN Secretary General selections. Between 1982 and 1983, Otunnu served as Vice President of the United Nations General Assembly and chaired the Contact Group on Global Negotiations. In 1984, he served as chairman of the United Nations Commission on Human Rights, further strengthening his reputation as an international diplomat and advocate for human rights. Minister of Foreign Affairs of Uganda. From 1985 to 1986, Otunnu served as Uganda's Minister of Foreign Affairs. During this period, he played an important role in Uganda's diplomatic affairs and was involved in efforts that contributed to the Nairobi Agreement of December 1985. An important attempt to establish a political settlement to Uganda's conflict. His tenure as foreign minister came during one of the most politically difficult periods in Uganda's modern history. Leadership at the International Peace Academy. In 1990, Otunnu became president of the International Peace Academy, a position he held until 1998. During his leadership, he transformed the institution's international profile, expanded its operations, and attracted significant new sources of funding. His tenure helped strengthen the organization's role in international discussions surrounding conflict prevention, peacebuilding, diplomacy, and international security. United Nations Under-Secretary General and and advocate for children. One of the most significant chapters of Otunnu's career began in 1997 when United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan appointed him Undersecretary General and Special Representative for Children and Armed Conflict. He was appointed on the 19th of August 1997 and took office on the 1st of September of that year. In this role, Otunnu became one of the leading international voices advocating for children affected by armed conflict. His work drew global attention to the recruitment and use of children in wars, the impact of armed violence on young people, and the need for governments and armed groups to protect children during conflicts. He served in the position until 2005, establishing a strong international legacy in the field of children's rights and humanitarian protection. Views on conflict and reconciliation. Otunnu has also spoken openly about the social roots of conflict and the role that communities and families can play in either perpetuating or resolving divisions. In September 1998, while speaking at the 10th anniversary convention of the Ugandan North American Association in Houston, Texas, he argued that parents could contribute to the continuation of conflict when children are raised with deep hostility toward people from different linguistic or cultural communities. His remarks reflected his broader concern that lasting peace requires more than political agreements. It also requires addressing hatred, prejudice, identity-based divisions, and the attitudes passed from one generation to another. Return to Ugandan politics. After decades of international service, Otunnu returned to active Ugandan party politics. In 2010, he contested the leadership of the Uganda People's Congress, UPC, seeking to succeed Miria Obote, the widow of former President Milton Obote. On the 14th of May 2010, Otunnu defeated Jimmy Akena, Miria Obote's son, at a UPC delegates conference and subsequently became president of the party. In November 2010, the UPC nominated Otunnu as its candidate for Uganda's 2011 presidential election. However, his presidential campaign did not translate into significant electoral support. In the 2011 election, Otunnu received approximately 1.58% of the vote. Notably, he declined to cast a ballot on Election Day, including for himself. He remained UPC president from 2010 until 2015. International recognition and awards. Throughout his career, Otunnu has received numerous international honors, recognizing his contributions to diplomacy, peace, human rights, and humanitarian work. Among the major awards associated with his career are Distinguished Service Award, United Nations Association of the United States of America 2001, German Africa Prize 2002, Sydney Peace Prize 2005, Global Award for Outstanding Contribution to Human Rights, India 2006, Harvard Law School Association Award 2007. These honors reflect the international recognition he has received for his contribution to global peace, human rights, diplomacy, and the protection of vulnerable populations. Advisory and civic engagement. Beyond his formal government and United Nations positions, Otunnu has continued to participate in international civic and policy institutions. He has held or undertaken advisory, jury, and other leadership roles with organizations and institutions including the Aspen Institute, McNulty Foundation, Aspen France, Aspen Italia, the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, the Carnegie Corporation of New York, the Hilton Humanitarian Prize, the International Selection Commission of the Philadelphia Liberty Medal, the International Crisis Group, the Council of African Advisors of the World Bank, and the Advisory Committee of the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI. He is also the founder of the LBL Foundation for Children, reflecting his continuing commitment to issues affecting children and young people. Legacy. Olara A. Otunnu's career represents a remarkable journey from northern Uganda to the highest levels of international diplomacy and humanitarian leadership. From his early involvement in resistance against the Idi Amin regime to his diplomatic service at the United Nations, his leadership as Uganda's foreign minister, his presidency of the International Peace Academy, and his work as the UN's Special Representative for Children in Armed Conflict, Otunnu has played significant roles in Uganda's political history and in international efforts to promote peace and protect human rights. His life and career demonstrate the intersection of Ugandan politics, African diplomacy, international peacebuilding, human rights advocacy, and the protection of children affected by war.